center. He joined the order in 1966 in India, in Bellarmine, our headquarters, and was after sannyas, I think. Was it after sannyas?
No, just after joining.
Just after joining, sent to Rajkot and remained in Rajkot for over 20 years. Then he came to Sacramento, and when Swami Prapannananda passed away, he was made the head of the center there. So we're very privileged to have him. I think you all know that the Swamis had gathered for the sannyas vows and brahmacharya vows that were given on Friday. And so this evening, please welcome Swami Prapannananda.
ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृण्वाम देवः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्रः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंशस्तनूभिः वशेम देवहितं यदायुः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May we hear with our ears what is auspicious. May we see with our eyes what is beneficial. May we sing praises to the Lord and enjoy with strong limbs and body the life assigned to us by Him. Om, peace, peace, peace. I first thank Swami Sarvodevananda, who is not present here, for inviting me to this special occasion, which was mentioned by mentioned that there was a ceremony of vows for monastics, monastic vows and also brahmacharya vows. That means sannyasa vows and also brahmacharya vows. There are two stages in monastic life. First stage is brahmacharini. That means one takes a vow of celibacy, and the second is that after that there is a vow of sannyasa. That means giving up everything. That is just in a short that meaning of these two ceremonies, and they are formal. That means it is in India it is a very legal also. That means if you become a monk, there are certain rights you lose. That is definitely true in India. So for that occasion, several other Swamis were also invited, and I was also lucky to be invited. And as a corollary, because Vedanta Society of Southern California has so many centers, and the occasion was also ripe for some other events also. 125th anniversary of Swami Vivekananda's coming to this area, and also 75th anniversary of the establishment of the Tropgo Canyon Monastery. So in that way, all things together, I had the opportunity of visiting this place, and Swami said that you stay a little more. We are good friends actually, so he said you stay a little more and visit these two places. That means this Santa Barbara temple, and also other than these celebrations, you just extend your stay a little more and give a talk there. So in that way, I had the privilege of visiting this place. I have visited this place several times because Sacramento is not too far. And previously our Swami, Shraddhananji Maharaj, used to come when he was well. That means when he could, his health was all right, he used to come every day. It was almost fixed arrangement that Swahananji has told him, used to tell him that every year you please come and visit all our centers in Southern California. So he used to come here, and mostly in the month of April for about 8 or 10 days, and visited this place. And he used to give talks and meet the Swamis, meet the devotees. So in that way, the connection is really very ancient and also very delightful. And today I have chosen a subject that means meditation in daily life. And seeing this place or experiences this place, I must say this is probably one of the best places for practice of meditation. That means this Santa Barbara temple. So quiet, so remote, and also environment is so pure that you cannot help but meditate here. Swami Vivekananda came to this country, as you know, in 1893 and visited many places. And he came in this area in 1900 and stayed for some time. But his mission was to teach spirituality in general. At the beginning, definitely he acquainted his audience about the heritage of spirituality of India, and then actually practical side of the spirituality by which anybody, including the people of this country, can benefit. In that way, he taught also spirituality to them. When he was in New York, he gave a series of classes on Raja Yoga. That means the practice of the reaching God through the practice of meditation. Raja Yoga, a word which has been made popular by Swami Vivekananda. It is, of course, this word comes in the Bhagavad Gita also, but it was not that common at that time. But when Swami Vivekananda introduced yogas, 4 yogas, Raja Yoga was one of them. Probably that was the first important series of talks that he had given systematically. Thereafter he went to England. There also he gave a class on this meditation, Raja Yoga classes. And these classes were very important, so they were taken down by the stenographers, and later on they were formed into a book. And Swami Vivekananda himself had the opportunity of going through that book, and he wanted that some permanent things should be left so that people can really get benefit then and future also. So in that way, this Raja Yoga book was published during his lifetime. And in that book, Raja Yoga, we see that there is a collection of his talks also, and there is a systematic explanation of authoritative book on Raja Yoga, that means meditation, which is known as Patanjali Yoga Sutra. By one means that is probably most well-known authority of this meditation or yoga, this practical yoga by Patanjali, a sage who lived seems to be about 200 years before Christ. What he had done, Swami Vivekananda has said at the beginning of that book, that he had collected the then practices that were common, and then he himself wrote down this sutras. Sutras means a sort of law. You know, Newton's law is there, then different physics law. In physics there are laws, in chemistry there are laws. In that way, in a short way, the knowledge is given. The reason probably was this, that means it was easy to remember them That means you could memorize. In those days it was difficult. The communication was difficult, writing was difficult, what to say about printing, and nowadays, of course, there are many ways of communication. So that was one of the things. And also, it was made in such a way that should pass from one practitioner to another practitioner. So there are teachers who used to practice those methods or those knowledge, and in that way they used to teach them. So in that way, the knowledge propagated. So definitely there are many, many teachers who actually used to teach meditation and other spiritual disciplines, and in that way he collected them in a concise way, and that book has 4 parts. That means which gives the theoretical aspect, then practical aspect, and also what will be the result. So these are the things that have been very well discussed there. And these physical postures, which is known as asana, came, and the benefit was really immediately found, because they are very practical, and if you do, immediately you can get the result. So in that way, once you get the good results, so naturally it becomes popular, it is easy to adopt them. So in that way, this yoga meant these asanas, and you will find that every corner of any city, you will find a yoga studio, and people are teaching, and in that way it has become very, very popular. And it is really what is astonishing that people are getting benefit, and they're what is called they themselves. That means it seems to me that yoga, this asana posture and all those things are more popular in this country than in India. In India, of course, there are many other practices of spirituality. They are probably, it suits them, or the tradition has come in that way, they do that. But these yoga, asanas and all those things are more popular in the West. In every places you will find there are teachers. And because this meditation also has come, so people are deriving benefit out of meditation. And it has been established, that means it has been found, because nobody will accept something without experiment and getting the result. So it took probably little time to find out the benefit of meditation, and then it has become a subject of study also, a part of the study of mind, as we know. So in that way, it is picking up, and people are doing meditation. They like to do meditation, and also like to learn meditation. So that is the place where it stands now. So Swami Vivekananda had taught very simple ways of meditation, practice of meditation. Usually, as I told you, because of his popularity, people come to us to learn meditation. So we have a small pamphlet taken from Swami Vivekananda's teachings for a starter, how to do meditation. Especially young students or anybody who have heard about meditation and are curious about meditation. So how to do meditation, we have a small pamphlet that we give, and then we say that you follow this, and if you need more help, you can come and we shall discuss and help you. So first, Swami Vivekananda has said about environment for meditation. Environment means people live in different circumstances, in different situations, and also their livelihood is different. So there are many factors which affect this environment. If you are in an environment of family life, so naturally your environment will be something. If you are a student, your environment is something. And if you are alone, you live by yourself, environment will be different. So in that way, there are different types of environment, but certain type of environment is very conducive for meditation, that Swami Vivekananda has said. So for that, quiet place is most important. As I told you at the beginning, this is one of the best places, even in our order, which is good for meditation. You can spend hours in doing meditation here. You can do meditation any time, during the daytime, any time, and do meditation. And in that way, environment is prepared here. That means a ready environment you can get. Because to control the mind, outside disturbances need to be controlled. Because our eyes, ears and all those things are open, they have to be controlled. Control in a sense, that means there should not be input through those senses. Then actually we can really look at our own mind. Meditation means mind working on the mind. So you have to watch your mind. That is a simple way of saying what is meditation. So the environment is there. So environment has to be, if a quiet place is there, but also it should be such that the other aspects of meditation is that it should be enlightening. Enlightening in a sense, that means it should be joyful. It should not be depressing. There are places it may be very quiet, but it is very depressing also. In that way, of course, what is called cremation grounds or what is called cemetery, they are also very quiet. And they are not bad for meditation, but it doesn't suit everybody. Those who are really very serious about meditation, for them it will be good, because other thoughts also will come in those places which may not be conducive for meditation. But suppose I am in a house and live by myself, or there is an opportunity of living by myself, or at least I have the opportunity to be alone in a household also. So if I can make a space for doing meditation, then it will be very conducive or very helpful. And for that, Swami Vivekananda has said that have a place and room where actually you will practice meditation regularly. The point is that he has given the example that temples are there, churches are there. Why they are there? Because once you enter there, you feel that vibration. What is the vibration? We cannot see vibration, but we can feel that. That is the point. So if somebody or a number of persons for ages or even for some time have done some what is called good thoughts, so Swami Vivekananda is saying that good thoughts actually as if just get plastered in the what is called the walls and ceiling on those places, and when somebody enters there, actually they give what is called influence them. So in that way, temples and churches and religious places have their natural what is called their natural source of quietening the mind. So in the same way, in the house or in a room, it can be created by this repetition. Repetition is the most important part of the practice of meditation. So if you do meditation in one place in a corner, so every day when you come, automatically from the corner you will get some help by way of vibration. So if you have the opportunity of coming places like this, naturally it is a ready-made environment is always there. Then of course he has said that, well, there you just pay respect to the meditators. That means there are successful meditators. That means there are well-known meditators or spiritual personalities in our history. So suppose Buddha. Buddha was a great meditator. As you know, he left his what is called princely life and became a beggar, and then started doing meditation for the sake of relieving the what is called the sorrows of humanity. That was his goal. He never said that I wanted my liberation, but he said that I want to relieve the sorrow of humanity. So that was his goal, and meditation definitely that helped. That means he himself reached that state. He came out by doing meditation, got the result, and then actually he propagated that, and in that way we see environment and all those things actually worked for him, and naturally in his teachings also we find that he has given instructions in that way. In case of Shankaracharya also we see. Shankaracharya had the opportunity of a prodigious child. So at a very young age he mastered the scriptures, and then actually by studying scriptures he found that there is something which is self-realization. So naturally for that he was very eager. Ultimately he renounced everything and got a teacher. And it is said that when he sat for meditation, within 3 days actually he had the highest realization. That means It is called samadhi or nirvikalpa samadhi in technical term. So he was lucky because there is no way that it can be said, and everybody cannot get that. So he said that probably he had the great sanskaras, that probably in previous lives he had done all those things, so it happened to him very easily. And in our time we see that Sri Ramakrishna and his disciples, especially Swami Vivekananda, also had the opportunity of doing spiritual practices. Sri Ramakrishna is very special because he was born in a village, poor family, but he had the environment of spirituality by doing worship in a small temple, that a family temple like that. And that actually ultimately brought the spiritual fervor in his mind. Then, because of the profession, his family was professional priests. So naturally he was engaged as a priest in a temple. There also he got that environment. It was a new temple, and they engaged him as a priest. And then actually we see that he had the desire to have the vision of God. He practiced a path of devotion. So in devotion path one can have the vision of God. So he was very particular about that, and ultimately we see, though he did follow the profession of a priest, that means daily activities. He had to get up in the morning and do the temple services till the night, and then actually he used to take time for doing meditation in a secluded place, temple complex. So naturally after evening things become very quiet, so he selected a place and made the environment conducive for him for doing meditation and all those things. And later on we see there is an occasion when time came and he had the highest realization. And not only that, he continued to practice, and there are many experiences that he had. And in case of Swami Vivekananda also, you see his disciple. He came to Sri Ramakrishna because he was a modern person, that modern student. Naturally, studied philosophy and all those things, heard about God. And he had also the desire to what actually is God, or he wanted to have a person who has seen God. In that way, he was looking for somebody, and ultimately he had the opportunity of coming to Sri Ramakrishna. At that time, they are together. That means he was a student in a college, and Sri Ramakrishna was in the outskirts, in a suburb area in the Dakshineshwar Kali temple, and by that time actually he had some reputation has spread that he had seen God, or he has the very high spiritual attainment, because in those days there was a current of spirituality or religious movements which actually attracted him, because he was seeking or trying to figure out that whether these things are true. Swami Vivekananda, I am saying. So ultimately when they met, Sri Ramakrishna actually initiated him in the practice. That he became teacher and he became a student, and by practicing his method, and ultimately he became a realized person. So the situation is very interesting now. That means it is with some authority Sri Ramakrishna actually told him. When Swami Vivekananda, he was a Narendranath at that time, young boy of say 18 or 20 years old, came because he was looking for a person who has seen God so that he can also see, or whatever it may be. So he went to many persons. Nobody actually could tell that he has seen God. Seen God means ultimate realization and spirituality according to our different paths, especially the path of devotion. They say seeing God. That is in meditation actually it is maybe the term is little different, but the goal or the experience is the same, and nothing can be none of this can be had. That means in practice of meditation or practice of devotion, nothing can be had without what is called concentration of the mind, whatever it may be. The story is that when Narendranath was searching for a teacher who could tell how to realize God, so he went to many reputed persons. Even there was a person, Devendranath Tagore. He was a great leader of a spiritual movement, Brahma Samaj. He actually could not tell him that I have seen God, I can show you. But when he went to Sri Ramakrishna, he said that, well, yes, I have seen God. Not only I have seen you, I see Him more conspicuously than I see you, and not only that, I can show you also. That was actually very few person will be able to tell with confidence to a young person like that. So naturally, if somebody says that I can show you God, so people will think that person must be something wrong with his brain. That means head has gone wrong. But he was a very sincere and impressed by Sri Ramakrishna's life. So ultimately he surrendered to himself, if we call it, and did practice. And in his time, actually he had also the highest realization through meditation. So these are the different occasions or celebrated stories or incidents that had happened in our that we see, and there are many other stories we will find that are available in many branches of religion. So the practice, as I was telling, that means there are, as Swami Vivekananda later on, when he became a teacher, so he used to tell that yes, there should be an environment, then actually you sit down, and the place where, just to keep that place what is called sacred or spiritually oriented, have some what is called flowers or images of teachers who are successful like Buddha, or we keep Sri Ramakrishna, or in Indian spiritual there are many gods and goddesses. That means they are the forms of divinity with the help of which people have the realization, meditating on them or doing different types of practices, they had the successes. So that creates an environment. Then actually, Swami Vivekananda said, and also it is according to a scripture, that time is also, that means it is very important that if physically we can create something, so that is it, that means at least 10% or 20% problem will be solved. Because ultimately we have to control the mind, but by mechanical things or doing something actually, if we can create an environment, so it is very helpful. So in that way, time is also very important, especially at the beginning. He said that at the morning and in the evening, that is the time when nature becomes quiet. And by observation also you can see that nature really becomes quiet during this time. So that is the time when if we practice meditation, then you get the help of the nature. So that is one of the criteria. Later on, of course, any time is good for meditation. And when we become adept in meditation, probably in a working place or in a crowded place also, meditation can be done. You see that in temples and other places, especially in Kolkata or such other places, busy streets and small temple is there. There are temples all around, and people is trying to do meditation. That happens, that is possible if there is no other way or there is no other place. Even in a busy place also it can be practiced. But definitely if somebody wants to get the help of the surroundings, these are the these are the ways by which actually you can get the help. Then sitting also, because mind has to be controlled. So if the body and mind, they are together, usually think of the body as what is called we are body. Then of course later on we see that no, we are probably the mind. Body is what is called an external thing that is there. So body also is important, because if the body is not quiet and controlled, it will affect the mind. If there is a pain, naturally mind will be after the pain. If there are other disturbances there, so naturally it will affect the mind. So posture is also important, which is very popular. That means to have a good body, practice of postures, exercises and all those things are very helpful. So in that way, that is another aspect of the practice of meditation. Then actually he comes to the what is called real practice. First is that our mind is disturbed. So to control the mind is very difficult. So there is a saying, I think in our scriptures also, that means it is just like a monkey. monkeys you will see in the picture also, they are always busy. That means doing something, looking at something. So they are the good example of a disturbed mind. So naturally, to quieten the mind, it has been said teachers have found that if you think that the thoughts that are coming from different sources, if you can really quiet them, that means if you can think that I am not really affected by the other person's vibrations or other natural vibrations that may disturb, so in that way always pray for that. That means pray that everybody be happy. If they are happy, so naturally they will not really what is called from them actually no disturbance, mental disturbance will not come to you. So if you call from somebody, if you have called with somebody, naturally that memory of the quarrel will come to you. So if those things can be controlled by some prayer, in that way actually prayer is also very good at the beginning, so that you are not disturbed. So he says, let all beings be happy. If somebody is disturbed, so naturally his happiness is gone. So if everybody is happy, it doesn't happen, but definitely for oneself we can really just utter these words, or in the mind we can think of. This is a sort of exercise. In that way we can do. Then let all being be peaceful. So disturbances come mostly from other persons. So if they are peaceful, naturally that will be happy. It doesn't mean that I am such powerful that if I say everything will be peaceful, it will not happen. That is very evident. But still, for my sake, it has been found, if you pray in that way, wish in that way, strong wish is there, naturally your mind will be quiet. Then of course he has said, every being be blissful. That means it is not that you are achieving something which other will not be able to achieve. So you will become a very powerful person or a very prominent person. It should not be like that. Everybody should have the opportunity of having reaching that goal. That means bliss. In fact, Swami Vivekananda said that all beings are actually going towards the end. End means, that means self-realization. All beings, that means starting from the amoeba to the highest being, say Lord Buddha, in that way, all beings that are there, they are actually striving to reach that goal. The point is that the time factor. So an amoeba probably will have to evolve slowly so that it will have some mind, and then if the mind is there, probably to an insect or animal or something, so that in that condition it is not possible, because the mind will be always busy for food and protection from predators and all those things, so it is not possible. Ultimately, when one reaches to the human birth, then actually probably there is a possibility of getting what is called the highest stage. So it is important that we need to understand that as a human being, we are possessed, that means because of a good karma or whatever it may be, that we have this human body, and in human body actually it is only possible to have the highest realization. So we should be very serious, those who are really know about it or interested about it, that we should not really waste time for this self-realization that is only possible in this life. So in that way, actually, we see that if we understand, then actually we can really get an impetus in our mind to do spiritual practices. So now, as Swami Vivekananda said, then actually exact meditation starts. We have a mind, and then we are trying, he is saying that now the point is that it is very simple, say, how to have the self-realization. That means if you control the mind, then automatically you will be able to know your true self. That will be self-realization. The first line of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra is that control your mind and realize your true self. Finished. That means if somebody can just hear and does it and is successful, immediately he will get the what is called liberation, as it is called. That means liberation from sorrows, not only a liberation from, according to our Eastern philosophy, rebirth, and also have the eternal peace. So all these things are possible just by controlling the mind, and that is the goal of this Raja Yoga. but it does not happen that easily. Everybody knows that. So even the those who have practiced for a long time, they also say that, well, it is really very difficult to control the mind. And Sri Ramakrishna, of course, and also there are different paths, so they like to practice in different ways. But we presume that somebody is trying to have the self-realization through this meditation. So what will be the method? So Swami Vivekananda says that, well, think of your own body and see that it is strong and healthy. As I told you at the beginning, it is the best instrument we have. That means there is no other way or outside implements, all those things that can help you or that can lead you to this self-realization. You have to work with your body. Think of it as being as strong as adamant. Think, that is the point. Nobody is really without disease, small or big or whatever it may be. Some sort of difficulties are with there, everybody. And it is said that if you do not have that type of what is called sensation of illness or some ailments or something, you will not feel that you have a body. So to feel that you have a body, some sort of difficulties are always there. So that mind remains into the body. I think it is God's plan or whatever it may be. Think of it as being as strong as adamant. So you have to force your thought that you have to think, though your body is not strong, you think that you are strong. And that with the help of this body, you will cross the ocean of life. That means you will have ocean of life. This is another way of saying self-realization. That means if you reach the goal, natural ocean of life means you have come to the end of your what is called continuous what is called process of being born and dying and all those things, just like ocean. Freedom is never to be reached by weak. This is Swami Vivekananda's very strong words, because he was always in the positive side. He did not teach actually weakness, especially which are common in devotion and all those things. Prayer and all those things, something they are definitely good, but he was in favor of strength. That there is no doubt about that. And in that way actually he has taught everything. Tell your body that it is strong. Tell your mind that it is strong. And have unbounded faith and hope in yourself. Self-confidence. That is important. It is not pride and it is not ego also, but actually you have to have that confidence that you can do something. We can do many things, but also in this case, in spirituality, also it is important, we have to have that type of faith that we can reach that goal. So that is very important. Then actual practice, he has said. Think of a space in your heart, and in the midst of that space, think that a flame is burning. So this is you can say an exercise. In exercise actually you say stretch your hand or stretch your leg or what is called take breath in this way. So in the same way, when you have acquired all these qualities, that means you have practiced all those outside things, now go inside and think that inside your body, inside your heart, there is a what is called space. In fact, actually, anatomically, there is a space. I have heard from the doctors that there is a space, a hollow space inside the heart. And that flame is burning. You have to imagine. This is the exercise of imagination, and in that way, think there is a flame inside. So, think of that flame as your own soul, and inside the flame is another effulgent light, and that is the soul of your soul, God. So, these are the what is called, this is the way we have to think. That is the first method of meditation. That means you have to think that you are just like a flame, and then there is another flame, and your flame is your what is called Atman, or your consciousness, and also it is a super consciousness if you call it. That is God, presentation of God, and meditate upon that in the heart. And this is the beginning of the meditation. So this practice actually, as I said, step by step or stages by stages, ultimately this practice have to be continued till we reach the goal. That is the point. So it is not a matter of joke that you will be able to every day you will be able to do that, and every time you will be able to do that. And there should be, and if you have a taste, that means if you are persevering, naturally you will stick to it. That means you will try and try and try. So that point is this, that means what is the situation? That means mind is there and we are thinking in these things. And Swami Vivekananda has presumed these things. That means there is a light flame. And in many other systems they will say that you think of your chosen ideal. That means whom you like as a spiritual, what is called, leader or spiritual role model. So in that way also it is possible. The point is this, a lot of thoughts have been given because it does not happen, so naturally the students will go to the teacher that, sir, I am doing these things, but nothing is happening. It is very difficult to control the mind. So naturally at the beginning, which are obviously within our control, whether after doing those things properly, the elementary things that I said at the beginning, even if when the time of meditation the mind is not being controlled, then actually the problem comes, and naturally we seek advices from the what is called those who are practicing for a long time, or those who are really advanced, we can say, or those who have the opportunity of having the learning or hearing from the successful spiritual teachers. So what happens actually, why you are not able to control the mind? So this has been taught in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra very elaborately, and there are there are aphorisms and also elaborate explanation of aphorisms by different teachers. What is the mechanism of this mind and its what is called this role model, if you call it, that means object, which is actually representation of our consciousness. We all feel the consciousness within ourselves. There is no doubt. It is accepted, or we can feel and nobody will deny. Because without consciousness, we will not live. If the consciousness go away, we are dead. So there is no doubt. And we see also that means if somebody does not have consciousness, so he is dead. Anything, or not only human beings, all beings are like that. So the point is that this consciousness needs to be experienced. That is the point. And this is the method of experiencing the consciousness. That means you think that light is there. Light is the representation of consciousness. And there is what is called two lights. One light is yours, another light is what is called super light, which is the representation of God. Now, Patanjali has followed one philosophy. We have 6 systems of philosophies. One is called Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga actually does not say there is a super light. There is only one light inside. You just realize that. And they call it Purusha. The word Purusha also, in those days probably it has got many meanings, but nowadays it is really male. That means male persons are called, male gender is called Purusha, but Patanjali has used as a representative of Atman. That means the consciousness that is within ourselves. Now what happens, as I told you, that means usually ordinary persons, those who are not very serious, they think I means, that means my body, I am body. But those who are really educated, given some thoughts, they think, oh no, mind is myself. Body is there, mind is controlling the body, that is obvious. We can see that there is a possible, there is always a scope for that, and we are seeing that. So naturally, is the mind the consciousness or not? So many people think that is the ultimate thing. That means mind and consciousness look same. That means I means my mind. With mind I am doing everything. So now this problem or these questions actually have come to many persons. And ultimately these philosophers actually sorted out those things. Especially Sankhya is ancient, most ancient scriptures of the Hindus. Lord Krishna also has said in Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya Yoga Prithak Bala. That means in Sankhya, actually of all the philosophies, I am Sankhya. That means that is the most important philosophy that is there. And I represent that. He has said that when there is a when you see something very powerful or something very illuminating, I am present there. In that way he taught Arjuna. But Sankhya is most ancient and very simple also. That means you don't have to believe in God. That is the first thing, and that very convenient for us in this age. You don't have to believe in the existence of something who is actually controlling us from above the clouds, as Swami Vivekananda said. So that does not require, Sankhya does not require that. That means you can have the self-realization without the help of God also. That is a very interesting thing. But yoga, of course, we see Patanjali has accepted because it is a much later. Sankhya is most ancient. That means even probably at the time of our Vedic age, 5,000, 6,000 years ago also, Sankhya philosophy was that people used to practice, and as a natural, what is called evolution, if you can say, or natural life that they had lived, in that way they used to have self-realization. And Swami Vivekananda said, yes, human beings, all beings actually are going towards the self-realization, but the point is the time. So, as I told you, that means amoeba may take probably billions of years. Human beings probably will take millions of years because they have advanced. But in our case, those who have really stuck up with this thought that, well, this is there, like Swami Vivekananda. That means, well, if God is there, I have to perceive it, I have to experience it. So if that type of problem it comes to our mind, then naturally we shall have to work for that. And in that way, actually, it is like this that everybody will have, but we have to have this in this life. That is the most important. Swami Vivekananda has said, to succeed, you must have tremendous perseverance, tremendous will. I will drink the ocean, which is, you can imagine, that means it is a fantasy, nothing but fantasy, but that type of thought actually is a part of the exercise, you can say. Says the persevering soul, at my will, mountains will crumble up. Have that sort of energy, that sort of will, and you will reach the goal. That means it is a sort of guarantee that he is giving. If you have that strong mind in this life itself, you will be able to reach the goal. So, as I am telling, that means the problem after practicing meditation, at the same time, once you are in the trap, you cannot really come out of it. That means you have loved this practice. So, what are the ways? Ways means first is that teacher have said, I am following the teacher's examples and all those things. That is fine, and that will continue, and that has to be continued. But at the same time, also on my side, that means what I can do. What are the tools that I have? First thing is that if you can understand that mind actually is not the soul, you have to figure out that. So mind is changing, and there are many ways of, there are what is called, scholars have shown the example, anything that changes is not really permanent, that cannot be conscious. And consciousness, as we see, is really a singular thing that we all inherit. That means there is no doubt. And not only that, if we go through the what is called the teachings of the scholars and experiences, they will say that same consciousness is residing within ourselves. That also is a part of the experience, but definitely at the beginning, actually, we can start with our consciousness. So consciousness and mind are not really the same. That has to be understood. So there are in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, actually it has been, especially the commentators has worked on that very elaborately. That means it is a very important thing. Otherwise, if you think that mind is the last thing, and if you can really control the mind, automatically it will happen, that will not really work. You have to understand that mind and consciousness are not really same thing. The reason is that some of the teachers I have seen that they will say that when you do meditation, you sit quietly and watch your mind. So watching the mind means that means there is somebody or some entity who is watching. So that is the first step. That means mind can be separated. That means mind, as if mind can be divided into two. That means one watcher and another thing is object. subject and object. That means somebody is watching and something is being watched. Both things are in the mind. So which part actually will be the what is called the consciousness? Automatically you can really, through some common sense, you can understand the watching part will be the what is the consciousness part, and things that is being watched, that is really what is called not the consciousness, because they are changing. Changing means it goes away and it comes. Things that are in mind, they come and go. So in that way, we have to get an impression, or we have to get a conviction that this watching part, that means the observed part, is the where actually the consciousness is there. So there are then naturally it will come to our mind why actually we think the mind itself is consciousness. The point is that this consciousness is actually inhering the mind. That is why mind thinks that I am conscious. So there are what is called practical experiences there, and also on the basis of the experience it has been said that there are ways by which actually it can be argued, or it can be conviction may come. So say these magnets are there, magnet, and in the what is called in the what is called in your kitchen also you'll see in the refrigerator. On the refrigerator you have small magnets are there. Probably one grocery list you will just put it there so that you go to the what is called what is necessary for the grocery buying the groceries. You write down and it is stuck on the refrigerator door. So these magnets are a very good example. So if say office clip is brought to the that magnet, and if you will see that office clip will also get magnetized. And not only that, if you put another office clip at the bottom of that office clip, you will see that it is also getting what is called getting attached to that one which is touching the magnet. In that way, actually, that consciousness is something like that magnet. That means it does not know that it is a magnet, but it really, when an object, pure object, that means you cannot really bring any object to the magnet and it will be magnetized. It does not happen. Still, that means pure iron has to be brought, and it automatically get that the magnetism actually transmits into it. And in that way it happens. So the purity is like that. That means just like a iron which is pure. And that is the effort that we do for clarification or purity of the mind. Then actually the consciousness which is inside, the magnetism, if you call it, that will come to us. In that way it will be magnetized. And the relationship between consciousness and this what is called mind is like this. That means magnet itself does not know that I have magnetism. But when the iron, I am giving the example, just when the mind comes to it, actually it knows that what is called there is something like consciousness. In that way actually the operation is happening. So in this way actually we see that these two things are important for the magnet to come and realize that it is the magnetism itself. That means that consciousness is really the thing that I have to reach. So that comes because when it comes there. And also magnet itself knows that I have magnetism because there is something pure soul is there. In that way actually both are working. And when an object is already magnetized, that means when spirituality has come, so naturally it itself has got that power, it gets that power. It is an example. Every aspect of spirituality will not be satisfied with this analogy, but definitely it is a very one way of seeing how actually mind and consciousness is working. Consciousness is just like a magnet, but when the mind comes, consciousness goes into the mind, and consciousness thinks that I am mind, and in that way mind thinks I am consciousness. In that way it is happening. So this joining together, that means this dependence of each other has to be separated. That's the point. Mind is what is called inert substance. Inert substance means it is subject. It is an object. Object in a sense that means which can be seen, which can be perceived. That is the sign of an object, because the consciousness has got the property of what is said that it is unchangeable. Unchangeability is the first criteria of consciousness, and in mind actually we do not have that. So naturally we have to get rid, or we have to overcome that. So in this way actually a little bit of logic or a little bit of observation is necessary for doing that. And we do spiritual practice that Swami Vivekananda has said, that light. And as we know that many of us do with the chosen ideal. So chosen ideal also is the construction of the mind. That means it is inside the mind. But why we take the help of the chosen ideal. Chosen ideal is helpful because just like flame is an inert substance. But chosen ideal lives, say some entity which was really conscious. That means it was a person, or a person, or something which has been imagined to be conscious. So in that way, and it is very pure also, because suppose I am thinking of Buddha. Buddha was a very pure personality. There is no doubt about that. He has the self-realization. So if you think of Buddha, that thought, that means mind is thinking. So this thought, because of the association of the mind with Buddha, automatically, because of purity that is there, all the qualities, if you call it Buddha, automatically get transferred. Just like you see magnet transfers the magnetism to the iron. So in the same way, when what is called these chosen ideals come to the mind, actually it transfers. That means without our knowledge actually it becomes pure. And purity is the criterion for the getting the spirituality from the consciousness itself. That means consciousness will travel when it is really pure. So in that way actually self-realization will come. So that is Swami Vivekananda actually has, I don't think that he has given too much stress on the chosen ideal, except in Bhakti Yoga and such other places, because these are what is called celebrated methods. But in Raja Yoga, as I told you, in the practice of meditation, especially for those who are not really interested or do not feel attracted to personalities, for them actually this path, that means the mind and the consciousness, if they can really understand that the two things are really separate, and in that way they can do the practice by what Swami Vivekananda has said, or any other method, then actually meditation will be good. That means it will not be possible just thinking logically or through analogy. Conviction may come, but if that is made practical in our life, then actually it will be possible to have the self-realization. That is the thing. And my purpose of today's talk was that I give a class of Raja Yoga and Patanjali Yoga Sutra in our center. And presently we have come to that stage. That means one of the aphorisms which actually deals how actually mind and consciousness are intermingled. There are different 4 or 5 or probably about 8 ways that has been proposed. But the best is that acceptable is this, that means it is because of the ignorance. Ignorance is just like magnetism, it has passed into the mind. Consciousness, somehow or other, the consciousness is ignorant about its own what is called spiritual power or whatever it may be. And in that way it has imposed itself on the mind, and in that way mind becomes, it equates that I am mind, myself, that means my consciousness is mind, or mind thinks that I am conscious. So that actually is what is called studied in that aphorism. So the basic thing, just to sum up, is that in a stage of meditation, when we reach the observation of the mind, we have to understand that consciousness and the mind are really separate, and we have to separate our consciousness from the mind itself, and that is done by practice of purity. If the mind becomes pure, automatically the consciousness actually will be, what is called, consciousness will understand, or it will come back from the mind to itself, which will be the self-realization. Okay, thank you very much for giving an opportunity. It is a sort of, as I said, a very subtle thing, but we can just give some thoughts to these things, especially those who are serious about meditation, why actually mind is disturbed and how actually mind can be purified, and then ultimately how the realization will come. And what will be the realization? That means when the consciousness will be self-settled. That is the goal of this yoga and meditation.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming. We will have questions that people can ask Swami down at the potluck after the Vesper service. You can come down, and we will have we'll have Arati right now at 6 o'clock, and then at 6:30, please come down to the kitchen, living room, dining room, and we'll all have potluck supper together again in time to ask Swami any questions that you have about this. This is a very explanation of mind and consciousness being separate, but it's a concept that is a little difficult sometimes. So you may have a couple of questions. And we want to thank Swami for being here.
Okay, thank you very much.
We'll have the Wednesday afternoon reading as usual in the temple at 5. And who's speaking next week? Who's speaking? Vedanta Rupananda will be speaking next week on the inner light, Sunday morning at 11. Thank you so much.
All right,
Swami,
thank
for
you very
being
much.
That was a wonderful talk.
Thank you.